We kind of have a tendency to think that all the answers are going to fall into place, but a lot of that stuff doesn't prepare us the way that we think. Like we graduate, like a lot of times we're like, okay, I just got to graduate college, just got to finish it up, and then I'm home free. And then you get to that place and you're like, oh, okay, now I got to like start all over and figure it out. And that can be a place of loneliness, of difficulty. Welcome, everybody, to our first ever Passages TV podcast. My name is David Todd Jeremiah. I am the host and producer of Passages TV, and I am here with Nico Bellardi, a good friend of mine, also works with Turning Point and Passages TV, and my sister, Grace Ann Baker, who helps us out a lot with social media and a bunch of other stuff with Turning Point. So, Nico, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so as David mentioned, my name is Nico Bellardi, and I work full-time for Turning Point Ministries with Dr. David Jeremiah. I'm originally from Brazil, and I grew up in the States. I played soccer my whole life, and I found a passion for videography. Probably junior year of high school, I had a GoPro, and I just loved making videos with my friends, like of all of our adventures or travels and like sports videos and whatnot. And I just thought it was fun, like telling a story. But my focus was all about soccer. Going into college, I played soccer at Liberty University. I had to pick a major, and I decided to study video production. I realized there was a lot of opportunities for that. So I just figured it might be a smart route to go, and I fell in love with the scale of video production, and I'm honored to be here with these people and be filming a podcast and all the exciting things we do with Passages.
As David Todd mentioned, I'm his annoying little sister. Been following him everywhere since we were little and just kind of always looked up to him. I even followed him to college. So David Todd went to Liberty University. I missed my big brother, so I followed him there, where I got my bachelor's and my master's degree in strategic communication. That's also where I met my husband. I've been married about a year and a half. He's awesome. We're currently living in Alabama, where he's pursuing his law degree.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Roll Tide. Yeah, and I'm just super excited to be a part of the Passages team. I joined in February of 2020 and have just been kind of rolling with the punches since. So we're excited to start this new chapter of Passages. We've kind of been, dipping our toes in everything to see what we can reach the most people with the gospel and what we can connect with young adults more about in today's world.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm David Todd. I'm going to be the host of this podcast. Nico and Grace Ann are going to be joining me on many of them, if not most of them. We're also going to have some where we have special guests here and there, but this is going to be our core crew to go ahead and start. And I also went to Liberty. We all went there. Grace Ann kind of mentioned that. Loved it there, got my undergrad and my bachelor's degree, and then just wrapped up my master's of divinity almost a year ago. And then I'm married, but it'll be 2 years in June, which is wild, and we have a little boy on the way. So life is as a crazy point as we're kind of like jumping into all this stuff with Passages, and then just also with personal stuff. And we're really excited with this podcast to share some of that with you guys. Like, part of it is we want this to be just a conversation of different perspectives of what we're going through as young adults. And I hope that we can relate with you guys in the place of life that you're at. And so we just want to be able to have those conversations, talk about some of the things that are normal in the transitions of life as we're at this stage, because there's a lot going on, a lot of change happening in our lives, and I don't think it's talked about enough, and we want to be just a place that can have those conversations with you guys from a biblical perspective, and also, really important, we want to have a lot of fun doing it. So we're gonna be joking around, messing with each other, especially as we do this and just get more comfortable with it, and we're excited for that. We got a lot of fun stuff planned and coming up with that. But I wanted
a lot of embarrassing stories that we're going to bring out too.
Yeah, that's the good and the bad thing about doing this kind of stuff with siblings is
we know all the dirt.
Yeah, you got we know each other, but we know each other, So, but that'll be fun. So we'll get to have a lot of fun bouncing back and forth with that stuff. And so we hope you guys stick around and get to see some of that, because more and more of that's going to come as we keep doing this.
I mean, I feel like we've introduced ourselves, but I think it's good for our viewers to understand what is Passages. Mm-hmm. How did it start? What was the idea behind it? Kind of talk to us a little bit about that, because you've been a part of it since the beginning.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of you guys might have been following us since we started in 2019. A lot of you guys are likely new, but Passages started back in 2019, as Nico said. It was totally different. It was more like these big scale adventure videos with like a Christian theme to them, and we had a lot of fun. We would shoot those over the summer, and that's kind of how it started. And it was just like voiceover stuff. It wasn't anything like this. And over the years, as different members of the team went and took on different roles at other places, and new people came in, Passages kind of evolved and grew in different things, and we saw what we enjoyed to do, what listeners and watchers enjoyed. And what we've come to today is more of, we do a lot of stuff on Instagram with like just little like devotionals or inspirational content. We've been posting pretty consistently on YouTube with some longer form videos. But ultimately with Passages, we just want to relate to, 18 to 30-year-olds, give or take, who are going through a lot of transitions in their lives, and they're looking to continuously be following God through those steps, because I think that's the most important time of life, where you want to have God present in those decisions and in your life. And so as people who are in that stage of life and going through it, we're not masters at it at all, but we have experience and we have what we've gone through and what we are going to go through that we can talk through with each other. And so just being kind of an honest and open environment where we talk about the different places God's leading us, the things that have been tough, the things that maybe we found success in, and just having that conversation with you guys. And so we're excited that that's the place that Passages has come to. We want to be interactive, and we want it to have a really just real, genuine feel to it. And so we hope that this is another step in that direction.
And we're super excited to be on this podcast for the very first time, and we hope that this is something we do regularly moving forward. But yeah, we've tried the long form YouTube videos with like beautiful production and voiceovers to a lot more like raw social media driven content. Like David does biblical deep dives, devotionals that we post consistently on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And basically when we kind of revamped and rebranded, we, gave our website a facelift. We launched merch. So we have a shop
Check it out.
available with that.
Passages.tv.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plug. And last year too, we launched a really exciting campaign called Discover Your Calling, where we highlighted some other people that are like experts in their craft and professionals in different industries. And the whole idea with Discover Your Calling was to, allow for people to share their story and their journey of failures and successes, to discovering exactly what they are doing today and be able to reflect on those successes and failures and see how God used all those moments to kind of build them up to be who they are today. So it was really interesting, and that's also something we hope to do moving forward as well.
Well, I think we all realized what a large need there is for that after we got out of college, because you kind of graduate from college and then you jump into the real world and you almost don't feel prepared and you don't feel like you're ready or you really know what you want to do. And so we wanted to interview these people who have, been experts in their craft, who have made it a long way, and kind of see what their story was, what their journey was like. Because I know at least I've talked to a lot of my friends and they're like, okay, I graduated college. Like I haven't really thought much past that point. Now what? Yeah. Like I have all this extra time on my hands. I'm, working a corporate job, working wherever, or maybe I don't have a job yet and I don't know what I want to do. And how do I figure out what it is that God is calling me to? And we saw a lot of people struggling with that post-grad. We wanted to speak into that. I'm sure us three, we don't have it all together, but we're figuring it out. We're figuring out what God's calling is for our lives. And we've got a pretty good jump start on it.
We love just sharing those conversations with you all, because I know that a lot of you guys are maybe in that boat where you're close to graduating college or you've just gotten to college, and we kind of have a tendency to think that all the answers are going to fall into place. But a lot of that stuff doesn't prepare us the way that we think. Like we graduate, a lot of times we're like, okay, I just got to graduate college, just got to finish it up, and then I'm home free. And then you get to that place and you're like, oh, okay, now I gotta start all over and figure it out. And that can be a place of loneliness, of difficulty. And so that's not an abnormal thing. And we just want to like talk to you guys how we've walked through those things. It doesn't mean that we did it perfectly, but we just want to be able to relate to you and show you that, you know, you can make it through. And it is a lot more of a process than like a defined understanding or like everything is just figured out at once. And so it's healthy to talk through those things and to hear other people talk through those things and process it. And, you know, maybe while you're listening, you can think through some of those things yourself in your own life. When we started Passages, like that was the ultimate goal, was we want to meet young adults where they're at. A lot of them are on social media, and we want to be a positive voice for the kingdom of God, because there's so much stuff out there that is there to distract you from your walk with Jesus. And I've just been learning more and more about that recently, how that all can be such a distraction, but it can be used in a positive way. And if we can contribute to that in even the smallest amount, we want to try and do that. And so we hope you guys come along for the ride there. Grace Ann, what can people expect from this podcast going forward? And again, we're still figuring it out. Like, we understand, like, this opening podcast could have 5 views, and that's okay. We're going to keep going. Like, that's
There's
part
5
of it.
of us in here right now.
You just have to. Yeah, exactly.
We're all 5 of the views.
Yeah, you just got it. There's a point where you just got to start. Like,
right.
You just got to start. And so that's what the step that we're taking here. And we hope that it builds, but we're going to be persistent in that. And this is us taking that first step. I'd be curious to go look at like bigger podcasts and see what their first one. Yeah. Like, it's just, you got to start somewhere. So start somewhere with us. Yeah, Grace Ann, just talk a little bit about like what viewers can anticipate. I know we talked about it a little bit, but you know, with some of our more immediate plans we have.
Well, one, you can anticipate for us to be real. We're going to have some very real topics on this podcast that young adults are facing, and how to, you know, take a biblical approach to things that we're facing in today's society. The world's just getting crazier and crazier every time you look at the news. And so we want to be able to equip you guys with Bible tools and biblical approaches to, you know, go through things in life today. We're also going to do some more Discover Your Calling. We have some great guests lined up that we're excited for you guys to hear about. We're going to talk about like important topics like anxiety, humility, leadership, stuff like that are very applicable in the way that you live out your life as Christians. So we've got a lot of great things coming up, but mainly we just want to be real with you guys. We're going to talk about our struggles that we faced in today's society, how we've gotten to where we are, tell you guys a little bit of our life stories and how we navigate today as young adults, young adult Christians. Yeah,
and if I can add too, this is going to be a lot of just conversation. So don't be afraid that you might be thinking, oh, this is going to be another preaching like podcast, like where we're just going to be preaching and shoving the Bible down your throat. Like, it won't be too much like that. It'll be a lot of just conversation, but with obviously a biblical direction, and that's kind of our source where, you know, we live our life by. And so that's going to be evident in these podcasts, but it's not going to be like preaching from the pulpit. This is very much just going to be 3 people sitting around a table having a conversation, sharing stories. And we might not always agree on the topics. So you might get to see some different biblical perspectives on different topics. So it could be really interesting. That's just a big part of what we want. Like, we know we don't have all the answers, and we know you don't have all the answers. And so, like, let's talk about the different options and different things. Or like, where we can find the answers. Yeah, and maybe we'll come to maybe we'll figure things out during this while we're talking about it. So, and it's just going to be a fun way to continually be in God's word, like in our conversation, but also in our thoughts. Like, we just want to be surrounding ourselves with God's word and all of that, in hopes that we can grow closer to Him through that. But thank you guys so much for watching. We're really pumped to jump right into kind of the next things that we're going to be doing here in the future. If you guys want to see more Passages TV, the best place to go is our website, passages.tv, that links to our YouTube, our Instagram. But everywhere else, you can pretty much find us at Passages TV, and it'll have all the information there. We're really excited to have you guys listening, and we hope you guys check out the next one.